Welcome to yet another unedited, pretty much straight up side-by-side comparison between the Remarkable Paper Pro and the Remarkable Paper Pro Move. This is the smaller one, and in fact is pretty much 1.5 width of the Remarkable Paper Pro. So it's as tall as the Paper Pro is wide. We will be referring to this unit as the Paper Pro, and this will be the Move. Yes, we have individual reviews on our channel if you want to see either of these, so let's begin. We have the glow lights off on both of these, as you can see right here. Now, there's something very interesting, and we don't know what it is attributed to, but if you turn them off, they are drastically different colors. This screen and this screen is not the same color. They are using the same screen technology. In fact, these are the only two units that are using Gallery 3. This screen is extremely green on the color wheel. You can see the pretty stark difference here between the screen itself and the kind of clay off-white gray around the sides. The Move does not exhibit that. It exhibits something more akin to regular e-paper, which is a constant white versus white, you'll see right here. And when you put these guys beside each other, you'll see that they're not the same color at all. It's not even close. This is green, this is blue. We reached out to them and they did not disclose as to why the difference was so stark of a difference, but please keep that in mind, and we'll be doing some side-by-sides as we go. Now, the comparison isn't about what each of these can do, because they can't do anything that the other ones can't do, basically. They both have the exact same UI, it's just kind of formatted a little bit differently because of the overall PPI, and they have the same settings under the settings menu here, and they have basically the same function. Now, keep in mind, if you've watched our reviews in the past, these units are next level slow. They're using Gallery 3, so unlike something that is using ePaper, Kaleido, or Mobius, something like this, these are very, very slow. They're the only units that are using the technology. There have only been 6 units that have ever used Gallery 3, and for good reason. They are extremely slow and sluggish, they're very stainy, and they're very unresponsive. The writing experience is also very sluggish as well, and we'll show you that when we get into some notes. But the first thing we're going to do is look at some colors. Now, this is the exact same image on both of these units, and we're going to zoom in to a pretty strong degree here so we can see these both side by side. You'll see that the colors are pretty different, honestly. This one has more pinks in the lips here, and this one has more kind of purples. The blue is almost a light blue here, and this one is significantly more dark. It's like an ultramarine. Also, when you look at the yellows here, now you'll see that I'm touching this a lot and it's not doing anything. You do really have to be slow with this unit because it's not a spec powerhouse. It's quite slow, both of these. You'll see how this is a rich kind of orange yellow, and this one is super pale. So it really is an unfortunate difference in the screen technologies, both of these. We've used smaller gallery panels and bigger gallery panels, and typically it's a even process when you just carry it over one to another, but the colors just seem completely programmed to be just different across the board. Now we'll get into some text here, and you'll see that the text is not very clear compared to the Onyx devices and the bigme devices of the world, where they're very kind of smooth and really a good amount of density and a good difference between the whites and the blacks, but you'll see it's just a little bit fuzzy around a lot of these. Also, if you look at the dead space once more, you'll see this is very white and blue if you're just joining us, and this is very beige and gray. We'll look at a couple more things here to just get a good handle on the color situation. We'll just kind of go into the circle. And this acts kind of as a testament to how these devices are to navigate around. They're just, you got to be patient with it because it's not going to be very comfortable. You'll see here this is orange, and this is pretty much just straight up brown. And again, same thing. So you just have to keep in mind that depending on which one you want, the colors will be different. And the thing is, if you go over here to the settings menu on the top left corner, You'll click here, go down to settings, click here, go down to settings. You'll see that if you go to display and whatnot, there's really no way to change anything. It's just visible content, extra bright, and that's it. There's not really anything that's giving it kind of a pushover to do vividness and color control and contrast control. It's just that. Now, when it comes to using these at night, as we showed you before, they do both have glow lights, so that's really nice. Now, the glow lights are basically the same. I would say just using the naked eye, this is a little bit more reddish, and this one just has more of a white tone. So the glow light is better on this than it is on this, and neither of these are particularly bright. They're not super bright glow lights. It's just there as a pleasantry so that if you needed to use it at night, you could. Reading on this, I guess we could touch on reading real quick. These aren't e-readers, but they kind of, one of the three things they give you is e-reading. They say books, so they expect you to maybe use it as an ebook reader, but neither of them are very proficient at it. They're really just kind of odd background colors with not so clear of black/light gray characters themselves. But if you had to, you can read on it. It's not awful. It will get the job done. Formatting is a little bit kind of hit or miss. You just have to really take your time with it. And there's not a whole lot of font settings. You will really have to just rely on the particular book to be formatted properly from the get-go, because it's not like these have a store or anything. You're going to have to sideload in everything you see here. So we have A Christmas Carol on both of these that we just put in via sideloading. Now we will go over to test a note, and we'll start a new note on both of these just so we can see what's going on. Now, if you see the overlay right now, you'll see that these devices did something that really comes at a detriment to the visuals. They put almost like a gritty sandpaper, a clear sandpaper over the entire unit. And what this does is it gives you a little bit better of a writing feel, but it comes at the expense of the overall appearance of it, because it looks pretty bad and pixelated, and the light bounces off the peaks and valleys at different angles. So it doesn't even really look that good, and it doesn't perform as good as, say, the Fujitsu Quaderno, which feels like pen on paper. So it's kind of like the worst of both worlds in a way. Now, this pen, furthermore, is only for these devices. You can't use any other pen on the market because they won't work. You can't even use the Remarkable 2 pen on the Paper Pro or the Move. And you can't use this pen on anything else like Wacom or EMR devices. They won't work. So you are stuck with this pen. And furthermore, it takes battery from this unit to charge this unit. You have to charge this pen. So there's a lot of things you have to be prepared for when you get into a Remarkable. Now, the good part is that although it does take notes pretty decently when it comes to a latency standpoint, it's a little bit hit or miss. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, if we choose a thick line magenta, as you're drawing, it's not magenta, it's black and a little bit gray, and then when you let go, only then does it finally go through 6 colors, yellow, green, red, blue, and then finally it lands on magenta. And this can pose a problem if you're doing coloring. So for example, I'm coloring, and you see it's black, it's splotchy, there's little streaks, and I'm like, wait a minute, well, why does it look dirty? Then you let go. It takes about 2.5 seconds to finally turn into that color, and you're like, okay, well, I don't know what that was, let's try again. So then you add your yellows to the mix, and it's black, and it's leaving these weird little artifacting lines, and you're like, wait, what's going on? 1, 2, 2.5, 3 seconds, it finally seizes out, and then you get your color. And this is the exact same thing on the Paper Pro. We'll do a thick line green with a paintbrush. So it looks really good, but that's not green, that's dark black. And then finally it turns into green. And all of this is just completely live here, and it just takes so much time every time you have to do anything and every time you want to change colors. So we'll go to yellow again, and you'll see that it's black and gray, and some of the yellow's not even showing up. And then when you finally let go, like that, it takes some time, and then it goes finally into that. So This is not, we're not bashing Remarkable, we're just objectively showing you exactly what happens when you go into different things. We love Remarkable, it's a great company, and we just feel like they made a little bit of a misstep on the Gallery 3 screens, and it's not their screens. This is from eink, and there's been over $100 million USD. Actually, that's 100 million USD of investment into these screens right here. And we just feel that even when we made our own, that we had tons of trouble with it. It's just not quite ready for prime time yet, because there's so many things you have to almost deal with rather than utilize. Now, when it comes to the speed and everything, it's honestly not bad if you have it in black and white. So for example, we go to the pencil, we go to large pencil, we go black. This is where they excel. Look at this. You tell me another unit that can do that, and then you turn the pencil to the top, you go like that. Look at that. Isn't that just insane? It looks so real. Like, that's exactly what a charcoal graphite pencil would do if you're holding it like that, if you're doing some shading, if you're pressing really hard and coloring. That's what it would look like, and they've done a perfect job at that. An absolute perfect job. They are the best in the business at tilt. Amazon, Onyx, no one's got anything on these guys when it comes to tilt, and that's been very evident since the Remarkable 2, when they introduced a really high degree of tilt. Now, another thing is that these tips do wear down to some degree, and they're replaceable, but only replaceable with more Remarkable tips. So you can't just buy the cheap bag of Wacom tips because they're proprietary. And remember, you got to charge this pen, so every once in a while you got to snap it to the side and wait for the little charging thing to show up. And then right there, it takes about 6 seconds to show up, and then there it is. Overall, though, honestly, both of these, you can't knock Remarkable for the, well, all pun intended, remarkable job that they did marketing these units. Their marketing team, their advertising team is second to none. These guys know exactly how to sell units. They've sold 1 million of their units up until the Remarkable Paper Pro. A little bit before, I believe, the 1 and the 2, they've celebrated their 1,000,000th unit sold. And overall, their online integration, their account system, all of that is just really good. It's a really good, and the build quality on these it's just gorgeous. I mean, the whole thing has this very nice, almost like 2000 grit sandpaper here. You have these rubber stoppers. They have a rose gold, a little bit of copper blend, metal build around the side. The build quality is so premium and so put together to the point that they knew they were making a quality product, and they did make a quality product in the end. There's just a little few shortcomings that we have found over the years of using Remarkables in general, and the now years of being around Gallery 3 since Sharp and Pocketbook, and our own unit that only lasted about 14 months. So these are the two Remarkable devices side by side. If you guys have any other questions, leave them down below.